Alexei was pacing around the apartment like a trapped animal. He could buy any armchair in this city, but none gave him peace. In 2 hours his parents' plane would land, those very people for whom he had always been a role model, a source of pride, but also a liar. "You've finally settled down," his mother wrote in her letters. "It's time to show us the one. We're so happy you're in love." Once, Alexei had lied just to keep the peace. It was easier to say there was a woman by his side than to explain that his life consisted only of bills, numbers and empty pleasures. And now the lie was rushing toward reality like a train with no brakes. He ran outside not knowing what he was looking for. He just walked. His heart was beating strangely, not from fear but from helplessness. On a bench by an old fountain he saw a girl. She wasn't from his world, wearing an old coat, worn-out boots. Beside her lay a gym bag, and in her hands a thin volume of Chekhov. Something in her face, thoughtfulness, a delicate beauty almost forgotten, stopped him. He approached her. "Excuse me, this is strange, but I urgently need a girlfriend." "No, a fiancé. For 2 hours. For good money. Just to meet my parents, please." She looked at him calmly, without fear, as if she already knew everything he would say. "For money you can buy clothes, time, but not feelings," she replied, closing the book. "I'm not asking for feelings. I'm asking you to save me from disgrace." The girl was silent for a long time, then stood, straightening her shoulders. "All right. But I'm no actress. I'll be myself, even if it makes you uncomfortable." Alexei nodded. He still didn't know that this random conversation would change him more than all the deals of his life. They entered the penthouse hall through a private elevator. The light lay softly on the marble. The chandelier crystals sparkled like ice. The girl, who never told her name, walked slowly, looking around. Alexei nervously adjusted his shirt cuffs, as if he himself didn't feel like he belonged in these walls. "I didn't know wealth could be so cold," she said quietly, touching the tip of her fingers to a bookshelf, perfectly color-arranged but never once opened. He tried to smirk, but irritation stuck in his voice. "It's order. Structure. Aesthetics. It's emptiness. Just beautifully arranged," she answered calmly, looking at him with interest, without mockery. Alexei was confused. He expected gratitude, excitement, maybe even shyness. But in front of him stood a woman not broken by life, just different. As if all her experience taught her to see the essence, not the facade. "Why did you agree?" he asked suddenly. "Because I need a place to spend the night," she answered honestly. "And because it's interesting to see a man who fears his parents more than loneliness." He was embarrassed. He felt ashamed. For the first time in a long while, the intercom rang. The parents had arrived. "It starts." "The show," he muttered. "Or the truth," she corrected. Sometimes it's in other people's roles that we say honest words for the first time. Alexei looked at her and, for the first time, felt that his 1-hour fiancé could see him, as he had long forgotten to see himself, real. Alexei's parents were from another era. His father, stern, restrained, always upright with a heavy gaze. His mother, refined, with a warm smile but watching every movement of her son attentively. When they entered the penthouse, the atmosphere immediately changed, thick with tension. "Here she is," Alexei said, gesturing toward the girl. "My fiancée." "Very nice to meet you," his mother said gently. "And what's your name?" "Just Maria," the girl replied, looking straight into her eyes. "But let's skip the fiancé. I'm more like a mirror here." "Excuse me," the father frowned. "I'll show you not status, not success, only what is actually beside your son." Alexei froze. He didn't know what to expect. He had prepared for a performance, but received living truth. At dinner, Maria didn't play along, didn't praise Alexei, didn't pretend to be refined. Instead, she spoke of the library where she once worked, of old people who shared their stories with her, and how once she lost her home, but didn't lose her sense of dignity. The mother listened with interest. The father was silent but no longer frowned. He looked at Maria not like a stray, but like a person. "You said you had a strong and intelligent woman," the mother said to her son. "And you did not lie." Alexei looked at Maria, something shifted in him. As if for the first time in many years he wasn't performing, wasn't building an image, but was simply being himself. And he liked it. After dinner he asked her, "Why do you speak the truth when it's easier to stay silent?" "Because truth is the only thing that doesn't end when time passes." After dinner the parents left for their hotel, insisting the young couple spend the evening alone. Alexei closed the door behind them and sank tiredly into a chair. Maria remained standing, looking at the night city through the panoramic window. "Thank you," he said finally. "You saved me. Even though you never pretended." "I don't know how to pretend, Alexei. People who have nothing lose the luxury of pretense very early." He looked at her, not like a homeless girl from the street, but like a person radiating something alive. True. She wore no expensive jewelry, yet she spoke as if each of her words weighed more than his whole penthouse. "You were probably surprised how easily my parents accepted everything," he said with sadness. "And I spent my whole life acting for them, the good son, the successful businessman, the beloved one, and still felt empty." Maria slowly approached him. "People don't like masks, even if they're used to them. But someone has to be the first to take theirs off. Today you didn't lie for the first time. It was obvious. Especially to your mother." He smiled quietly. "You know, it's strange, today was the one evening I didn't feel lonely in this house." She picked up her bag and carefully zipped it. "I should go. You hired me for an hour. The hour is over." Alexei stood up abruptly. "And if I want to extend it? Then don't buy. Invite. Not to the penthouse, but to where you live. Not your image." He stood there until she left. For the first time in a long while, in that perfectly groomed apartment, it became truly quiet, not dead but peaceful. Like it feels before something real begins. A week passed. Alexei seemed to notice for the first time what he used to ignore: how dim the light burned in his apartment. How cold the marble was in the mornings. How silence rang between the walls, as if mocking him. Without Maria the space felt even emptier, and yet her presence remained in every corner. Not as an ideal woman, but as a memory of truth. He didn't know how to find her. No phone number, no address, only a name, possibly fake. He even went back to that same bench by the fountain, but it was empty. And then, a letter. In a plain paper cover without a signature, left with the building security. Delivered by a woman in a coat the color of gray dust. Inside, only 2 sentences. "More than anything, I didn't want to become someone else's mask. If someday you decide to become yourself, come to the place where you were alone but not lonely." He understood, the library. The very one she talked about. A simple district library, forgotten by time. Alexei entered hesitantly and saw her, in glasses, among the books, wrapped in a scarf and in the warmth he had missed so much. "I don't want to buy someone's time," he said. "I want to share mine. No performance, no marble. Only me and maybe you." Maria was silent, but her clear, deep eyes said more than any dictionary. She closed the book and held out her hand. "Then let's go. Just don't rush. Everything real always begins with silence." And he understood, you can lose and earn millions. But true closeness isn't a gift, it's an answer to truth spoken at the right time. And today he finally spoke it, to himself, to her, and to the world.